Good morning. Welcome to Sunday mornings at MABA on Zoom and Facebook Live.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. My name is Xianxing, Sherrie. Today I had planned to continue on this series of talks I started last fall. I talked about Dharmas with a small d, and I plan to move on to discussing meditation and Dharma this year. And Mr. Jiru asked us to discuss practice in difficult times. So I'm changing my talk a little bit. It'll be about meditation in difficult times. Before I start my talk, I wanted to share with you something I had found online that I think is a very nice Dharma teaching. There's a person sharing some cartoons on Instagram and on Facebook. Let me start my slideshow first. So these are put out by someone who wishes to remain anonymous. They gave me permission to use one of their slides in my talk. They just go by the name Siha the Wise. All I know about them is that they're probably in Singapore. So the one I'm going to share with you today is called Bodhisattva. The cat at the top is Siha, and the little cat is Boo Boo. So Siha says, "Boo Boo, are you okay?" And Boo Boo says, "Siha, another plane has crashed. What is this world coming to? There is pain and suffering everywhere. I feel hopeless. Everything is hopeless. I feel helpless. There is suffering in this world. There will always be another war, natural disaster, abuse, conflicts, illness, death. Since the beginning of the world, the tears beings have shed are far greater than all the ocean's waters combined." And Siha says, "Remember, Boo Boo, even though there is suffering and pain in this world, there are also many, many good people who are doing good for this world. These noble beings are the ones who uphold the light and dedicate themselves to helping beings with their unconditional compassion and loving kindness. We are never alone, Boo Boo. We are never helpless. These people understand that there is impermanence in the world and see the suffering of beings, but they do not drown in sorrow. They refrain from hurting anyone and do good for the world. They purify their mind from defilements day by day. They dedicate themselves to tread on this spiritual path. Thus, Boo Boo, seeing the world on fire, we have to remind ourselves of our spiritual practice to do good, avoid evil, and purify our mind. This cultivation is not only for us, it is also for all humanity and the world. For every good we do, a smile, a donation, a helping hand, a kindness shared, or every evil we restrain, hurting others, stealing, lying, and even for a moment when we purify our mind, restrain ourselves from anger, hatred, defilements, greed, and develop wholesome qualities and wisdom instead. We bring a moment of happiness to ourselves and the world. A moment where a mother does not need to cry because of her child's death. A moment where a conflict may be resolved peacefully. A moment where a baby feels safe. A moment where someone does not need to feel grief and sadness. We bring a moment of peace to this universe when we tread this spiritual path. Thus, Boo-Boo, remember, never underestimate our spiritual cultivation. For every good we do, every evil we restrain, every defilement and delusion we purify, we bring a moment of peace to this universe. A moment where someone out there does not need to cry, a moment where we bring happiness to someone, a moment where humanity does not suffer. Come, Boo-Boo, let us sit and meditate. Let us remind ourselves of the good qualities of the Bodhisattvas, and together we shall send our loving kindness to all sentient beings in this whole universe, wishing them happiness. Now, I shared that because I think it's nice, and I'd like to introduce you all to that. There are a lot of other ones you can look at online as well, but also because it ties in with this idea of our practice in difficult times. Sometimes we feel like what we are doing will have no impact. Someone may even tell us, why are you meditating? That's not going to help the world. I've actually heard people say this. But if you practice, you know that meditation can help you to be a better person. It can help you to bring some peace into the world. And it helps you to develop skills that will help you in difficult times. So, how do we apply meditation? We learn skills and we develop our mind with meditation. And we do not just leave it behind on the cushion. We bring those things with us into our daily life, and we can apply them in our life. So we're going to look today at how we can do that. In my last talk, I talked about dharmas and how the Buddha had taught about dharmas, how they are caused and how they end. We're going to get into that a little bit today. We're going to talk about working with dharmas because the Buddha taught the cause of all dharmas and the end of all dharmas. With meditation, we can learn how to do that. We can also focus on bringing about good dharmas and good effect into this world, into our life, and ending ones that are harmful. Part of our practice is to cultivate the beneficial and end the harmful. So meditation is working with dharmas because meditation helps us to recognize what is real, recognize what is delusion, to know whether a thing is beneficial or harmful. Meditation helps us to adapt to the current conditions after we see them clearly and understand what is really going on and what is just a delusion in my mind. Meditation can help us to take action if needed, because in meditation, we have worked to develop our powers of concentration, to calm our mind, and this helps us to focus on the current situation. Do I need to do something? And if so, what do I need to do? We can stop what is harmful and bring about what is beneficial by our thoughts and our actions. In doing these things, we help ourselves and others to be happy and at peace. This meditation and that intention to do good and wishing everyone to be happy and at peace and free from fear and violence, we can bring that about by bringing our meditation skills and training to our life. Meditation actually is a mental development. It's often presented as a way to have some peace for a few moments, and it can be that, but it also helps you to develop your mind and your mental skills. so that you can answer these questions. How do I deal with right now? How do I develop in a good way? How do I help myself and others? And how do I stop delusional thinking and harmful habit energy? Because these two things, our delusional thinking and our harmful habit energy, are at the root of most of our problems in the world. We think someone else is bad. We think we need what someone else has for ourselves. We have bad habits of getting angry or ignoring situations because we just don't want to deal with them. All these things can lead to bad results and cause harm in the world. We want to stop these things because we really do want everyone to be happy. These things really come down to the Four Noble Truths. The truth of suffering. There is suffering in this world. The truth of the cause of suffering comes down to ignorance, which leads to those delusional thoughts and bad habits that we've already mentioned. And the truth of the end of suffering. We can end suffering. We can help others to know happiness and peace. We can help ourselves to find happiness and peace. The truth of the path that leads to the end of suffering is, of course, the Eightfold Path. So we can take our meditation skills and training and use it to bring the Four Noble Truths to our life. They may seem like an esoteric and philosophical thing, but they are actually part of reality, and we can bring them to our life to help others in the world and ourselves find happiness. In our daily life with the Four Noble Truths, we try to understand what is going on around me, what is happening. Is it suffering or is it beneficial? We also have to understand the cause of what is in order to stop what is harmful and do something that is beneficial. So if I have some feeling or some thought, I have to know the root of it sometimes to understand whether it is true or not. We also have to know the roots of what's going on around us sometimes to know what would be beneficial and what would be harmful. Can we stop what is harmful and cause the beneficial? There's some things we can't stop. The nature of this world is that we're all going to die sometime. We cannot make ourselves live forever. But there are things that are harmful that we can stop. I can stop an angry thought. I can stop a mean word. I can do something beneficial. I can develop a kind thought in my mind. And I can say a kind or helpful word instead. How can I do that? These problems may seem too big for me. There's war in the world. There's hunger around the world. How can I do that? Well, I can start with me and do things around me. I can help to make the world around me better, at least. So when we're dealing with a situation in our life, what can we do? Well, we have to clarify and deal with the situation. I'm going to use an example. Might not be something most of you would do, but it's something we've seen happen plenty of times. And sometimes people in this situation, sometimes it doesn't arise because of something you intend. Sometimes a bad thing arises because of habit energy that exists in your body. So in the example I'm going to use, a person is walking down the street, sees a Black person walking down the street, and this person who sees the Black person feels some tension or fear. Well, sometimes a person will react immediately on that feeling, grab their purse, move to the other side of the street, or whatever. Instead of doing that, let's stop and look at this feeling. So this person could think, I feel fear of that man. Is this a beneficial emotion? Is it based in truth? Well, fear of a person might be beneficial if the other person is a serial killer or someone intent on robbing you. But this is just a man walking down the street. So is this feeling based in truth? To know that, we have to examine the root of this fear. Is it based in reality or is it delusional? Is it just habit energy arising from the past? Well, this man we see, he has done nothing. He is walking while Black. That's it. So what is the root of this crazy fear a person may feel? Well, in this case, it's just memories of what this person heard in the past. Maybe in their childhood, there were racists around them. Maybe in their childhood, no one even said anything racist, but whenever they saw a Black person, people would get tense. And so when the child saw the adults getting tense or nervous, the child did the same thing. And it became a habit. But if we examine this with our mind carefully and clearly, we can see that this is a delusion. It's not based on the present reality. How can I stop this fear? Am I in control of myself, or is this uncontrollable? I have even heard people say, well, I feel that fear, but I can't help it. Well, of course we can help it because we are practicing. I have practiced calming my mind many times in my meditation. I know I can calm myself down, and I know I can let go of something that's harmful and that's not true. How do I do this? How do I calm down and come back to reality? I let go of that fear and I follow my breath. I relax my body. I feel my breath in my body. I calm down. I collect my mental faculties and I see the present clearly. I just see a handsome man walking down the street. And we can both go on with our day. I can do that because I have practiced meditation. I have developed my skill to follow the breath, to calm down, to collect my mental faculties, to be calm, concentrated, and clear. Because I've done that, I can use those skills to be present now. And I can correct my mind and my behavior. Now, in doing those things, I brought peace to myself, and I also brought peace to the man walking down the street. Because, of course, if you felt fear and tension, he can see that in you, and it's going to make him feel fear too. So when I can calm myself, I can bring peace to myself and to others. I can make everyone's day a little better. So what we just did was bring together the 4 foundations of mindfulness and the 4 right efforts. The 4 foundations of mindfulness helped me to clearly know what is going on. And the 4 right efforts helped me to deal with things in a wholesome way. These are not just lists to memorize when we're taking a class. We can bring them to our lives and apply them. and we can make a difficult time an easier time for everyone, for me and for others. You might think, do I really need to do all this? I can just walk down the street. It's just a moment. Is it really that important? Well, yes, it is. Because when we stop and alter the harmful state, we weaken that bad habit energy in ourselves. And it will be a little less strong in the future. If we keep doing that, the bad habit energy will keep getting weaker and weaker and weaker. And it will be less and less of a problem for us. When we cause a good state of calmness and a collected mind that is clear to arise in ourselves, we strengthen our good habit energy. And just like meditation gets easier the more we do it, doing this in our daily life strengthens our good habit energy. It gets easier and easier to be a peaceful and calm and collected person in our daily life. It becomes a good and strong habit. We are also creating better karma for ourselves. We know a moment of peace, not of stress. This is good for me. It lowers my blood pressure. It helps me be a healthier and more peaceful person. The other person, seeing us calm and at ease, also knows a moment of peace. So yes, we do need to do these steps. They're not difficult, and they help me, and they help you. So if you do not remember the 4 right efforts, they are to stop unwholesome states or conditions. Do not allow unwholesome states to arise. Create wholesome states if they are not already present. And continue wholesome states or actions that are already in play. Don't let them stop. So let's just go over this again in an easier way. First thing is to stop the harm from continuing. We have to recognize that an act or way of thinking is harmful. In order to stop it, we first have to realize that something is harmful. This requires a clear and collected mind on our part that is paying attention to what is around us and what is going on inside us as well. Then we have to stop it or correct it. Now, sometimes when you recognize a bad thought, you can just stop it. Sometimes we have to actually correct it by taking an additional step. If I realize I'm feeling angry, I may want to come back to my breath, calm down. That may be enough. Maybe I will need to do a little metta meditation as an antidote. Maybe I will have to rouse feelings of compassion in myself. I may have to take an action in the world. If I see, for instance, that some animal is trapped in some debris outside, I may go help the animal out. Sometimes the action is internal, sometimes it's external. But in any event, we stop the harmful from continuing. Another right effort is to prevent the harmful from arising. We don't let a bad thing happen in the first place. To do this, you have to watch your body, speech, and mind with diligence. This requires mindfulness, diligent mindfulness. This way, you will notice if you're getting sloppy, if you are ignoring something going around, if you are moving around with haste and ignoring things that are happening around you so that you might be clumsy. If you're mindful and diligent, you can catch these things so that something bad doesn't happen. Always go about mindfully with diligence. Never let the clumsiness or the inattention arise. And you won't have a bad thing to stop or correct because it doesn't arise in the first place. In order to prevent harm from arising, you also have to know your habits. If you know, I tend to get kind of crabby at the end of the day when I'm tired, and take steps to try to prevent that from happening. Try to take a little rest, but try to arouse your feeling of goodwill toward the end of the day. If you know that you're crabby in the morning, you tend to do bad things in the morning or be sloppy, maybe start your day with a good intention. Do a metta practice. Or say to yourself the 4 immeasurables prayer. I think I'm going to continue this during the day. That might prevent the harmful from arising. You also have to note any harmful feelings or concepts that may start to arise in your mind. Let go of them or correct them so that they do not turn into a harmful action. We can drop them or counter them with an antidote. Just let go of it so it does not become a bad thing. Or again, come back to feelings of loving kindness or compassion or a good thought. Or to remind yourself of a verse from the suttas that resonates with you, or something your teacher has said. Just keep coming back to these things. Even something like taking 1 or 2 minutes throughout the day to come back and follow your breath quietly can help to prevent harm from arising by continually coming back and reminding yourself of these skills and this calm and this collectedness. We also can make the beneficial arise. We do that by beginning with right view, looking at the world in a good way with a clear mind, and with the teachings of the Buddha in our mind, free from delusion, free from ignorance, as much as we can, so that we can see things the right way. And to do this, we have to listen, we have to contemplate what we hear, and then we need to understand. Now, these, of course, are the 3 wisdom tools that we use in our Dharma practice, but we also use them as our practice every day. Listen to what others are saying, really listen to it and contemplate it. Don't just let it go in one ear and out the other. Actually contemplate it and understand it. And then you are able to take the right step, no matter what the circumstances are around you. Sometimes the right step might be giving a good word or doing a good deed for someone. Sometimes the right step is to not say anything or do anything and just be quiet. But whatever the circumstances, we can try to do something beneficial. We also need to cultivate the beneficial to keep it going. We don't want it to stop. That's why we practice daily to develop good habits and skills. Meditate every day if you can, twice a day if you can. Listen to the teachings Develop your understanding of what's beneficial and what's harmful. And develop your own skills. Cultivate your own mind to make it stronger in the beneficial. Work on overcoming your bad habits and wrong view. Sometimes this is difficult, but it has good results. It will help you to continue being a good person who is helpful and kind and who brings peace to others. And in order to continue the beneficial, you have to know your own mind. You have to know what's going on in there, and you have to know what's coming up in your mind. Am I calm? Am I reasonable? Am I seeing things clearly and truthfully? We have to do that to continue the beneficial. By doing these things, we create a beautiful world for ourselves. We can know happiness and peace, contentment. Even if things are difficult, we know we are doing the best we can. We are not responding to things in a bad way, and we are not making things worse. We're making things as good as we can. We also help others. We may help them materially. We may help them emotionally or mentally. We may just help them by not doing them harm. But we can help others and help them to find happiness and peace. So even though the world may seem very dark and troubled, we can help a flower to bloom, a happiness within myself and a happiness within others. No matter how difficult times are, we can always help somehow. So this is my talk. I hope it helps someone and helps to bring the Dharma to people. Now let's do the Brahmavahar Prayer. May all beings know happiness and have the causes of happiness. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all beings know the great joy that is free from suffering. And may all beings dwell in the equanimity that is free from attachment, aversion, and ignorance.